We're back, my beautiful people. Sorry for the whole disaster there. Our internet is not working right now on my end. Me and Trevor are currently on our phones. Trevor, welcome back again. Thank you for working through this with me.
Yeah, sure thing. That's the nature of using StreamYard. I guess sometimes you're gonna have a bit of difficulty, and I know it eats up a good bit of the internet connectivity. So
Yes.
that's just the nature of it.
Yes.
But we're moving on. We're good.
Yes.
We still have a fantastic show for y'all, and I know we were talking about Brady before we got cut off there.
Right. So the biggest discussion is at this time, he's talking about making a comeback, what we alluded to right before we cut out. And
Yep.
Trevor was giving his piece on what the hell's going on with that. So do you think he's coming back, Trevor, or what do you think?
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell to the no. He doesn't need to. Like I kind of, as I was trying to say before we got cut off, he's got a nice big fat Fox contract he can sit on and just announce and analyze games.
Right.
He'll be just fine. He already has the most Super Bowls of all time. He has more Super Bowls than any NFL franchise. Just putting that out there too. And like I said before, he gave a Super Bowl to, if you go by wins and losses and win percentage, the worst team in the NFL of all time.
Right.
He's got nothing to prove. I think he's just keeping the media intrigued. He's keeping the attention on himself. Kind of a more subdued Aaron Rodgers tactic, if you will.
Yes. Yes. No, I agree. Then the other thing we were touching on prior, what else was there? Yes, I was going to be ranking the all-time. Next week, Trevor's going to be touching on the QB class of 2024 here.
Yes, sir.
But looking back at some of these draft classes, and some of these I ranked myself, some I pulled from articles. But I think everybody can agree, and if you're a Raiders fan, I think you would agree as well. 2007 was probably one of the worst draft classes for QB that we've ever seen in our lives.
Not just that, one of the worst draft classes of the 21st century across the board.
Yes. No,
yeah. Sorry, Raider fans. Sorry.
Jamarcus Russell was in that draft class. Brady Quinn, Kevin Kolb, John Beck, and Drew Stanton are some of the notable names. None of them are still in the league, so you can kind of already tell how that all went down.
I mean, Kevin Kolb was a decent journeyman backup, I guess, but other than that, that QB class, not good.
Right.
Not good. And, the chief among busts, either the first or second biggest bust in NFL history, depending on who you ask, in Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah. And then one that was notable that I did pull from an article, Trevor, that I'd never really thought of, 2016. That's ranked 11th on this list. Notable guys, and I think one guy that maybe people thought wouldn't stay, even though he was the number one pick, Jared Goff. He's still playing. And Jacoby Brissett, who was picked 91st, which is kind of interesting because Carson Wentz went number 2, and now he's back up, and we thought he was going to be the second coming of Jesus. So.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I think you got him. You got him ranked right here. You got him number 11, and this is like 21st century. We're talking 21st century QB draft classes.
Yep.
I see on your little script that you sent over, you have him ranked number 11. I think that's a decent spot for them. Bit of a top heavy one. You got some good top end guys: Jared Goff, Dak Prescott. The journeyman Jacoby Brissett, pretty much a career backup at this point. I know the name Connor Cook also kind of strikes some grief into Raiders fans' hearts. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
As does Christian Hackenberg for Penn State fans, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, and then you got Carson Wentz as well in that class, who unfortunately his career after his MVP season was derailed by injuries. Still a Super Bowl champion. So he has a ring, but other than that, that's about all you can really say.
Right. And then just trying not to stay too much on this, but 2011, I ranked at a 10th. There's some notable guys that I think no one, when they look back, you go, wow, okay, 2011 wasn't a bad draft class because you
No.
had Cam Newton,
Yes.
Andy Dalton,
Mm-hmm.
and I know some people have mixed emotions. We won't go too further in those, but Colin Kaepernick at the time was a good quarterback.
Yeah.
And Tyrod Taylor carved out a decent career, and he was in the 6th round.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just that I guess the premise of this whole listing is, yes, we're really focused on the first round, and Trevor will be touching on this next week, but sometimes Brock Purdy's are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they might sneak out. So, I mean,
we just talked about TB12. He was a 6th round pick.
Right. So, but
no, I mean, you talk about a class that unfortunately marred by the potential of what could have been for a lot of these guys.
mm-hmm.
Cam Newton, uber talented. That 2015 season is still stacks up as one of the best ever played by any player, period. Panthers went 15-1 that season and essentially cruised through the NFC playoffs into the Super Bowl and just ran into a vaunted Broncos defense at the time. And then you got Andy Dalton, whose playoff career was marred by, 7 straight first-round exits under Marvin Lewis.
Yep.
Not fantastic. Colin Kaepernick, we all know what happened with him. But he did make a Super Bowl. Let's not forget that. And he did pilot the 49ers to a lot of good seasons. Yes. And one of the best and most talented dual threats that I've seen on a football field. Had the length, had the strength, had the arm, and honestly had the smarts, too, to stack up against any quarterback. Then some career backups, like you said, your Tyrod Taylors, your TJ Yateses, your Blaine Gabberts, and Christian Ponders. So a bit of a class of what could have been. That could have been a super legendary class if certain dominoes fall the right way. Right. But yeah, to throw them at 10, just because of the mixed, results. That's perfect. That's a good spot.
Yeah. And then just jumping down here, number 2, 2020 was a special draft class. Joe Burrow, Tua, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, who's now finally getting his chance in Green Bay, and Jalen Hurts went in the 3rd round. I mean, that's a pretty stacked draft class if you look back at it.
Yeah, that one's hard to miss. Hard to miss. And even Jalen Hurts fell to the 3rd round. So there were actually no quarterbacks picked in the 2nd round of that draft. You can believe that. Yeah. But yeah, you got your, Joey franchise, Joe Burrow. I as much as I hate the Bengals, I do love Joe Burrow. Tua, Herbert, Love, and we see what Love's doing now. It took him 4 years of sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers pretty much did the same thing with Brett Favre. This seems to be, as I've said on this program many times, a recurring thing with the Packers. Every 15 years, they'll just draft a new guy, sit him for a couple years behind the current starter, and, they'll wait their turn and they'll be fantastic. I imagine that'll happen with Jordan Love in about 12 years. They'll draft somebody that might piss him off, and then they'll sit behind Jordan Love for a couple years, and then they'll be great again, and the cycle will just repeat. And hopefully the cycle repeats of them just winning 1 Super Bowl per great quarterback. Unfortunately, that one with Rodgers came against our very own Steelers, but, that just is what it is. Not a hugely deep draft class either, but the top side, hell yeah, stacks right up there, and you have it correct with who you got at 1 and 2 here. I'll just say that.
Yeah, number 1, and I know people are going to say, well, it's because Ben's draft class. That is, yes, I'm partially biased. 2004 ranks up there. Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Phillip Rivers. 3 Hall of Famers in 1 draft class, Trevor. It's not a common thing. So
not at all.
I mean, yeah.
Not only that, Matt Schaub was pretty good for a number of years with Andre Johnson and the like. Luke McCown, career backup, a nice journeyman, carved out a nice career for himself. Then a bunch of these other guys. There were a ton of quarterbacks taken in that round 7 of that draft. None really of note. I don't even recognize any of these names.
No.
I have them on my screen right here, and other than your round 1 through 4, I really don't know anybody. But Geez, J.P. Lossman was number 22 in that draft. I always forget that.
He went to the Bills.
Wow. Well, gives you another reason to rag on the Bills, I guess. So
Right.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, by the time that if we're talking 10 years from now, number 1 and number 2 could easily flip.
Yes.
Could easily flip. Depends upon how the guys in that number 2, the 2020 draft class, how their careers pan out. If they're able to win a couple championships, have Hall of Fame careers, we could easily see that flip. I think it has the potential to, but right now, leaving number 20 or leaving at number 2 the 2020 draft class and number 1 2004, that's perfect for me. In terms of legacy so far, 2004 best in class. 2020 could easily vault that.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you. And also, just a notable thing here: you got 4 Super Bowls combined between Eli and Ben. I mean,
of course,
pretty special stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame Philip couldn't get one. He almost did on a torn ACL, no less. He played an entire AFC championship with a torn ACL.
Right.
I'll always give him credit for that, and just for being one tough son of a bitch. And of course, for being able to field a football team with just his immediate family and the amount of kids that he has.
Right.
So,
right. And then one more piece here that we have, and then we're going to go over to Trevor's segments here.
Sure.
So Miami Dolphins got a huge acquiree over the offseason here in Jordan Poyer. He was released by Buffalo. He is excited to be wearing the new colors, Trevor, and light up the secondary, which is, I think, not a depleted secondary, but for God's sakes, they couldn't stay healthy last season. So him coming in with that leadership from Buffalo, do we see the secondary for the Dolphins, which I think was a missing piece last year, get heightened even more with him leading the charge?
A missing piece, let's clarify, because of injury.
Because of injury, yes.
Because of injury. There was a lot of injured players in that Dolphins secondary last season. 3 or 4 immediately come to mind. But now Jordan Poyer, going in division, no less, at his own will, signing a deal with the Dolphins, and now he's going to be playing the Bills twice a year, and he's going to be defending passes and probably tackling Josh Allen a little bit. Yeah. No, we'll see what happens, but that more than bolsters their secondary. We saw how he was with the Bills, big time difference maker, one of their captains on defense. He'll probably be the same for the Dolphins, along with the likes of Christian Wilkins. So at all 3 levels, that Dolphins defense is going to stack up. It's just a matter of if that offense can reach their full potential and stay steady stream throughout the season, because we saw how good they were in the front half, and I guess the first 10 or 12 games of last season. But when the weather got cold, so did their offense.
Yes.
So, well, that's going to be the key. That's going to be the key, even more than their defense. Their defense was able to hold up decently, even against some of the best offenses in the NFL last year. The offenses couldn't keep up.
No.
Especially when the weather got cold. So.
No, but yeah, again, if you're wondering why such a short statement, we did have a little technical issues in the beginning here. We'll be better next week, but we're moving on to Trevor's segment here. Take it away, Trevor.
You want me to get into the draft picks? Is that
whatever you think? I know we have some spicy things that's going to get maybe yourself and myself fired up, so I'm excited to hear.
No, of course, yeah. No, I think we can. I think we can get into the draft picks, get some positive vibes injected back into this interrupted stream, and then I can vent about a little thing I wanted to vent on. And I've been wanting to vent on this program about it for a long time, and now seems like the perfect opportunity to do so. So I don't know. You probably can't cue up the music and the intro for the Dinsy's draft picks. I don't know if that's possible on our phones here. It is? Okay, rip it. Go for it.
All right, here we go. We're going to put the banner
Hey, here we go.
All right. Now introducing Dinsy's draft.
That was good. I enjoyed that. I enjoy that guitar riff. But so, slight change of plans for this one. Last week I said I was going to be covering safeties and running backs. I did not realize how many safety prospects there were. And by the time I dug into this thing, I got too caught up in the safeties, I couldn't sneak around to the running backs. So I'll be coupling the running backs with quarterbacks next week when I have a little bit more time to kind of prep things. So just covering safeties, sticking with the defensive side of the ball this week. So, and forgive me, my notes are up here. I'll be looking up here pretty much the whole time that I'm talking, so I won't see your beautiful face reacting to, oohing and ahhing to everything that I'm talking about, Mr. Billy. So, forgive me. But diving right into it here, I want to talk about a guy named Javon Bullard out of Georgia. He's first ranked at the position, and to give you an idea of where this safety class stacks up, the first ranked safety is 49th overall. So probably not going to be any safeties drafted on day one. So like I said many times before on this program, going to be a skill position heavy type of a draft. Cornerbacks, O tackles, QBs, RBs. That's probably what you're going to see in the first round. Not nearly as many safeties, and even edge rushers in the first round. Not really safeties, but anyway, Javon Bullard out of Georgia stands 5'11", 198, so decent frame for a safety. A little on the short side, but it tends to he'll work at it. Got a prospect grade of 6.25, which means he has the potential to be an average starter. Ran a 4.4740, and why he's ranked as the top prospect as a safety, and being under Kirby Smart at Georgia, has a high football IQ and relatively good instincts to contribute as an NFL safety pretty much right out of the gate. Where he does struggle, though, he struggles covering a large area as a high safety. So when he's in the high safety spot, tends to struggle a little bit against deeper routes. And he doesn't have that great a burst when tracking down ball carriers. So, if you get him in the open field, he might not be able to close on you as quickly as some other guys, some all pros and guys of that level might be able to. Comp of his caliber would be Kirby Joseph of the Lions, who had a decent season last year and is kind of looking to improve upon it this year. Next guy I want to talk about, another Big Ten prospect. I love talking about my Big Ten prospects. I can't get enough of them. But this one's out of the University of Minnesota, the Gophers. The Gopher under P.J. Fleck. I love PJ Fleck. I love what he's done with that program, and of course, I just love the name PJ Fleck. So anyway, Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota, 56th ranked overall, got a draft grade of 83, a little on the bigger side, 6'2", 199, and got a prospect grade of 6.33, meaning he could be a plus starter in the future within a couple years of development. Did not compete at the combine, but his film and what scouts are saying about him indicate he has a good instincts and an ideal frame to thrive at the pro level, and he has a great ball hawking ability relative to his peers in this year's draft. And he's described as having, quote unquote, and I love this phrasing of it, a predatory mentality when tracking down ball carriers, like a lion hunting down a gazelle. That's kind of how I interpret Tyler Nubin's pursuit abilities, or at least interpret that phrasing based upon it. Anyway, where he does struggle, though, his top end speed is pretty average, so unable to pursue much above average, and struggles a little bit on deeper routes, and he can be a step slow in reading runs and what gap it's going to, so he can be a step slow in run support as well. Did receive high praise in his comps compared to Marcus Williams of the Ravens. We know that name pretty well as Jordan Battle of the Bengals, both in division guys for our Steeler fans out there. And we know those two guys pretty well, and we know they're pretty good, pretty damn good at what they do. So high praise for Tyler Nubin there. The next guy I want to talk about out of Utah, Cole Bishop. Third ranked at the position and 59th. So a nice little cluster in the second round or a second day here for your safeties. Like I said, no day one guys, but plenty of day two guys that can be serviceable. Cole Bishop is no different. Got a draft grade of 82, stands at 6'2", 206, so a pretty similar frame to Tyler Nubin. And he got a prospect grade of 6.2, which means he can be an average starter within a couple years of development. Like Nubin, a good frame, good length, good size, ideal for a safety candidate coming out of a D1 school. His route anticipation is described as above average, and to use the correct verbiage that the NFL.com site put out there, he blisters receivers when they cross into his zone. So he's very good in zone coverage and at holding guys up in their routes, as well as his ball hawking ability. Ideally, too, he can defend in the box and serve as a stopgap in the run game. So where he does fall, I don't want to say he falls short, where his faults lie, he's a little bit over anxious, tends to overplay a lot of things, especially spacing routes and in the run game and like zone running and all that. Tends to over pursue, tends to have too high of a motor to the ball, and he gets himself into trouble, misses some tackles here and there. And yeah, just tends to overrun when he's in pursuit. Just as well, he needs to work on his eye balance between the QB and the routes that are being run during the play. Comp for him, Trey Dean III from the Chiefs. Bit of a depth safety for the Chiefs. Obviously, they have who they have. They have guys that are more capable than Trey Dean, but that was the comp that was thrown out there for Mr. Cole Bishop. Next guy, Jaden Hicks out of Washington State. 4th ranked at his position, 62nd overall as of this morning. Got a draft grade of 81, stands at 6'2", 211. So a lot of guys with pretty similar pretty similar frames in this year's class. Got a prospect grade of a 6.15, which means he could be a good backup, but develop into a starter with the right coaching and in the right system. So this guy, more of a run support type, described as a run-through tackler rather than just a stand-up and tackle. Tends to run through guys. You know, they always say when you're tackling guys, run through them. Like the guy you're trying to tackle is behind the current guy. Oh, are you switching shit up over there? What are you doing? You good now? You're distracting me with all this.
Phone, microphone went out. We're good. We're good.
All right. You're good now? You can hear me the whole time, though. I'm good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not having the technical difficulties.
No.
Good. Excellent.
We're not gonna lose this goddamn show again, Trevor. I swear.
Oh no, jeez, we already lost it once, and we lost it on your record a couple weeks ago due to your microphone being a son of a bitch. But
all right, I have my tablet. I have my tablet set up just in case if the phone fucked up, so we're good.
Okay, excellent. So, no, who was I talking about? Jaden Hicks. Jaden Hicks, the run-through tackler. Described as having ideal size for a pro safety, and he has very good instincts and ball skills. So, like I said, much more of a run support guy than a ball hawk type, than like a midfielder safety that you would describe like an Ed Reed. But, you know, still has potential to develop in that role and in especially in nickel sets. He can thrive well in those. So where he does lack, though, he a lot of times gets his pads turned in the run game, can easily be blocked, not very physical at the point of attack when it comes to the run game. And he needs to work on his change of direction skills. Just as well, gets fooled a lot on play action on deep routes with tight ends and receivers alike. So needs to work on that. Another comp from the Detroit Lions, Mr. Brandon Joseph, is what they're comparing Mr. Jaden Hicks to. Now, I was very close to screwing up this guy's name just now. That's why I paused. Tykee Smith, Tykee Smith. We're not going to throw that in the compilation of fucked up names.
Right.
Tykee Smith, another guy out of Georgia. Plenty of guys coming out of Georgia. Kirby Smart is just breeding NFL players down there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tykee Smith, 97th ranked overall. Only got a draft grade of a 71. A little on the shorter side, 5'10", 202, and got a prospect grade of a 5.69, which unfortunately means he's likely to just remain on the practice squad or be some journeyman backup. That's just kind of the nature of the business. Ran a 4.46 40 and has a 36-inch vertical, 10 feet on the broad jump, so he can jump long, I guess.
Jesus.
Yes. So you remember when we drafted Marcus Allen, right? out of Penn State. He was basically just another linebacker that kind of, we plugged him in nickel sets and we threw him in middle linebacker when we ran out of depth.
Yep.
Think of Tyke Smith that way as well. He's mostly going to serve in like nickel sets and in run support, and be basically an additional inside linebacker for a lot of NFL defenses. That's kind of his niche. But he is able to disrupt like underneath pass catchers on drag routes, slant routes, things of that nature. Can't cover the deep stuff. But, it just is what it is. Just the same, he lacks the ideal frame that you want out of like a center field safety. But, like I said, if he finds his niche, he can thrive, but he really dependent on that. Good player comp for him, Elijah Molden of the Tennessee Titans. I had to squint to read his name right there. Elijah Molden. And I don't know exactly who that is, but I know he's a depth safety for the Titans. So, anyway. Another guy whose name I love, and another guy that I really think has a potential to be pretty decent in the NFL, Cameron Kitchens. Cameron Kinchens, not Kitchens, Kinchens, 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 out of Miami, ranked 108th overall, 8th at the position, and I always got to throw out the draft grades of 69. I always gotta throw that in there. That's what this guy has. He has another 69. Maybe we can do a compilation of that, a compilation of the 69 overall draft grades. You can throw that out there. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoy that. If I could video edit, I'd throw that together for you, DB, but I can't. So it's a developing talent of mine. I'll get there. But anyway, Cameron Kinchens stands at 5'11", 203, so pretty similar frame to Mr. Tyke Smith that I just talked about. Got a prospect grade of a 6.14, which means ideally he's a backup, but he could develop into a starter with the right coaching and in the right system. Ran a 4.65 40, so not terribly fast, but he's described as having a pretty good ball skills and, again, a pretty high football IQ. And he's described as a message-sending purpose type of a hitter. So, yeah, when they're throwing out phrases like that, I like to see that when they're throwing out phrases like that or predatory mentality, I always have to include that in my analysis. Just as well, has a lot of ball production, got 11 takeaways in his over his last 2 seasons at Georgia. And he plays with a very good transition quickness, and he sees the field pretty well from center field. Oh. Where he does lack, though, like I kind of talked about with his 40 time, needs to work on the speed. Which, NFL receivers are pretty damn fast, man. So ideally, this guy's going to play in a zone scheme and not against deep receivers because he's probably going to get beat by their speed. So good comp for this guy, Juan Thornhill of the Cleveland Browns. He was on the Chiefs a little while back. He was part of Spagnuolo's vaunted unit. So. Comes from a good pedigree there. Maybe Kinchens can develop into some of that as well. So I got to slow down and say this guy's name too, because it's one of those hyphenated ones.
Oh boy.
Dadrian Taylor Demerson. Oh. Remember that name, because I probably won't. Remember that name. Out of Texas Tech, ranked overall at 122nd, got a prospect grade of 6.28, draft grade of 67, and that prospect grade translates to him being potentially an average starter, which for being ranked 122nd overall as a prospect, not too bad. Not too bad at all. You're talking a mid to late day 2 guy. Yeah, no, that's not bad. Or perhaps probably a late day 2, early day 3 type of a guy. You can get a starter out of that. Day 1, that'd be fantastic. And I think he can get it out of Taylor Demerson. I did remember his name. Look at that. Look at me remembering things. But anyway, Mr. Taylor Demerson, very versatile. Very versatile. He can play center field or he can play in the box. And he plays with a good anticipation against QBs that don't know how to look safeties off. So he's able to read their eyes fairly consistently. But if you get your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allen's that can look him off, that's obviously that's where a young cat like him is going to struggle a little bit, at least at the outset. And much like Mr. Kinchins out of Miami, good ball production while he was at Texas Tech, and he's very confident and intelligent when adjusting after the snap. So very, very key there. But like a lot of his peers at the safety spot, a little bit below average on the size and the strength that you'd want out of an ideal safety, and more of a pop and stop type of a tackler rather than a run through type of a tackler. So a lot of guys are able to shed his tackling, and he'll miss some tackles as well. And needs to work on his patience and his discipline in reading the run game as well, reading what gap that the run is going to, whether it's a zone run or a man run, things of that nature. But decent comp thrown out for him, Jordan Whitehead of the Buccaneers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Decent one there. Decent one.
Yep.
Going on down my list here, Mr. Evan Williams out of Oregon, 13th ranked at his position, 158th overall, so likely a day 3 guy. Got a 5.8 prospect grade, which means backup special teamer. But I always got to take a look at these Oregon guys. It's hit or miss with these Oregon guys, especially at the secondary spots. So I always got to look at them, see if they're worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
This guy specializes in being more of a box safety rather than a center field guy. Decent in special teams, good pursuit there. Which again, partially why I wanted to look at this guy too. Special teams ability is going to be all the more important with the revised kickoff rules. So bear that in mind as we go throughout my analysis here.
Right.
So described as a very rough and tumble type of a guy rather than a finesse type of a player, which I like my rough and tumble guys. I'll just say that much.
Yes,
absolutely. So unfortunately, though, that translates to his frame and his body type as well. More of a burly guy, more of a muscular, burly, a little bit slow in the feet. He only ran a 4.6 40, so not terribly quick. Sometimes takes the wrong angles to the ball carrier, and sometimes loses contain because of his lack of speed. So again, like a couple other prospects that I've talked about, could supplement as a middle linebacker or in nickel sets, but otherwise, he might falter if thrown into like a center field or deep safety type of a role. And good comp for him, Nephi Sewell from the Saints. Yeah. Decent backup for them. Got a few more guys to talk about here, and then we'll move on to what I'm really looking forward to talking about.
No, that's good there. No,
yeah.
And I don't want to interrupt you, but it's going to be easier.
Please, go ahead.
I watched these back. I mean, if everybody watched if you watched draft night, our first annual last year, I had a whole list. Knowing these guys, when I watch these back, I can check mark, okay, Trevor touched on these when I'm going through the whole list. So it's beneficial.
And it's more to talk about whether I was right and wrong about people too.
Well,
we'll see. I mean, honestly, through this process, I've been getting a little bit better at evaluating talent and more focusing on the game film rather than some of the metrics. Some of the measurables, as scouts would say.
Yep.
So, yeah. No, this honestly, it's been a fun process, and I know it's kind of dragged on this show a few times when I've gone through 20 plus prospects, and at least it feels like it on my end because I'm not used to talking for 20 minutes on end. Yeah. But no, this has been fun. I've enjoyed this. And I've gotten better as I've gone throughout this process. Gotten a little bit more efficient in compiling this stuff, and a little bit more efficient in explaining it too. So. Yes. Yeah, look forward to definitely going to do this next year, and maybe I'll throw a couple mock drafts together, which you can do on ESPN now if you really want.
We should do that.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean honestly, maybe let's do that next week, DB. I'll check in on the ESPN, the mock draft tool that's on there. I'll see how quick it is. I'll see what the Steelers results are. See what the Bills results are. I can take a look into that. Maybe something to look forward to.
I'll tell you after the show. My brain's just gears started going. I'll tell you after. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We can strategize later for sure. Absolutely. But anyway, moving on with these safety prospects. Jalen Simpson out of Auburn, another SEC guy, you couldn't tell, a lot of defensive players come out of the SEC. And that's only going to be more so the case as all the merging happens at the collegiate level. A lot of guys are going to come out of the SEC Big Ten. A lot of talent's going to go there. That's where all the NIL money is. So naturally. Anyway, Jalen Simpson out of Auburn, only ranked 145th out of everybody. And I just forgot now. I forgot. I usually order this by rank in terms of like the position rank. I forgot to do that before the show started. So we're kind of bouncing back and forth. But hey, we had technical difficulties earlier. We're just pushing on through. We're just pushing on through with this. So I'm just going to push on through with my little analysis here.
Hell yeah.
Jalen Simpson, relative to his spot in the draft, got a pretty good prospect grade, a 6.12, which means he could be a good backup. And like I said, could develop into a starter with the right system and with the right coaching. Ran a 4.45 40, so not too bad in comparison to some of his peers. But where it's kind of weird for teams, they don't really know how to evaluate this guy because he played cornerback and safety pretty much interchangeably. And he developed more of a cornerback skill set than he did a safety skill set, if you will. Much more of like a man face up defender rather than like a ball hawking type of a safety that can pursue ball carriers well. But good change of direction skills and a good burst to ball carriers, good ball hawking instincts, and just as well has the length to meet at the catch point, has a pretty large wingspan as well. But like a lot of cornerbacks and kind of the opposite of Mr. Evan Williams, could throw some muscle on, develop a little bit of play strength, as scouts would say. But yeah, it tends to get pushed around in run support as a result, and struggles against double moves. He kind of over pursues and reads the first move, and then kind of gets beat over the top, which means I'm thinking he's going to be more of a cornerback prospect than a safety prospect. But he was listed under the safeties, so I figured I'd cover him this week. And that's kind of reflective in his comp. Devin Witherspoon, and I know I threw that one out a few weeks ago when I touched on the cornerbacks. Yeah, that was the comp that was thrown out there for him. A few more guys here. Dominique Hampton out of Washington, 14th ranked at the position, 174th overall. Only got a prospect grade of 6 and a draft grade of 57. That prospect grade of 6 means he could be an above average backup. He has the traits and the talent to do so. Just needs the right coaching and, like with all players, the right system. So much like Mr. Jalen Simpson, this guy's a pretty long wingspan, 6'7" wingspan in the NFL. That's pretty damn good. Normally that's good in the NBA. So at the NFL level, that's pretty good to have that as a secondary member. He can play split safety and in the box decently well, decently versatile. And he is a day 3 guy that could make a big difference on special teams. He has experience doing that while at Washington, and he's made some big plays in that regard as well. So he could do that at the NFL level likewise. Where he does fall short, though, he's a bit flat-footed when he gets caught in man coverage, especially against more talented receivers that can juke and jive all over the place. Gets a little flat-footed, and he tends not to keep up with him in game. So needs to work on that, needs to work on the footwork, needs to work on the overall game speed, and he needs to work out developing some game film as well. He doesn't have a lot of film to his name, per se. Has the traits, has the talent, has the measurables, as you would say, but needs the game film, needs to be put in a spot to thrive, and he needs to get the game film. I know I said game film like 5 times there, but that's what he needs. Good comp for this guy, Jalen Graham of the 49ers. Again, one of those depth safeties and special teamers, which is what Hampton likely figures to be. Going back into the top 10 prospects at this position, Beau Brade, Beau Brade, Brade, out of Maryland. I spell these names to make sure I get them right. I promise you, I'm not just trying to have a spelling bee live on Buckle Up with the Boys. Yeah, it's just to say these names right. But close to home prospect here out of Maryland. Ninth ranked at the position, 115th overall. Got a prospect grade of 6, much like Mr. Hampton. Could be an above average backup, has the measurables and the traits to do so. And like Mr. Hampton, very versatile, can align as a split safety or a box safety or play center field if he needs to. And he's very good at what I call the moment of truth, which is when the ball arrives. Pretty good ball hawking instincts. And, he has the film that emphasizes his versatility, unlike Mr. Hampton. He has some pretty good film to him. Needs to work on the range, though. Doesn't have a whole lot of zone range when he gets caught in zone coverage. And he tends to take steep pursuit angles, which means he gets leverage toward the perimeter and backs can cut back inside on him. And he needs to work on developing power in his tackling. Again, much more of a pop type of a tackler rather than a run through you type of a tackler. Mm-hmm. Good comp for him is Andre Cisco from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, another special teamer and deep safety. And the last guy I wanted to talk about, again, another prospect that is fairly close to home, Big Ten prospect out of Ohio State. Out of the Ohio State University. Yeah, no, I know. Sorry, as the Canadians would say. Sorry. Out of the Ohio State University, Josh Proctor. And don't get me wrong, I heard his name this past year and a couple years before when they were playing Penn State. So I figured, you know what? I'll look into this guy. Only 19th ranked at the position, though, so could fall off of draft boards entirely. Only ranked 246th, so late day 3, if anything. Okay. But figured I'd toss him on here for the viewing pleasure of Ohio State fans everywhere, and much to the dismay, unfortunately, of some Penn State fans. But it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, Proctor, 6'2", 205, got a prospect grade of a 5.93, which means likely to go the special teams route. Ran a 4.5, 540, so not too bad. Decent eye balance and good use of his size and his length to disrupt catches relative to his spot in the draft. And he has pretty good footwork and man and zone coverage, again, relative to his peers in his spot in this draft class. He does need to work on the recovery speed to take on over the top routes, though. So, not able to be as much of a ball hawking safety as, an ideal zone team would like. That is what it is. And he's described as having hard hands when he goes to intercept passes. So he's dropped about as many interceptions as he's hauled in. So much more of a tip ball type of a guy rather than actually hauling it in and a ball hawk type of a guy. But good comp for this guy, Marquise Bell of the Cowboys.
Kind of made me think of like Taylor.
Yeah, obviously much lower in the draft and much less of a prospect. But yeah, similar frame, similar size, similar set of skills. Yeah, I honestly, I forget where Ike Taylor was drafted. I believe it was like round 3 or 4, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this Josh Proctor fell a little bit lower on the draft boards, but like you said, similar skill set for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's all the prospects I had to cover, and the most bang for your buck pick that I would take out of this year's draft. I honestly didn't pick it right before I started here, so I'm kind of picking this live, if I may. Oh, yeah, I'm finally doing it live. I like that Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota.
He sounded good.
Yeah, he sounded real good. Seemed like an ideal versatile safety, decent size, decent frame. Comes from a good coaching background as well with PJ Fleck, good Big Ten defense down there. And, the comps were just off the charts for him. Jordan Battle and Marcus Williams. If you're throwing around those names when you're talking about this guy, yeah. I'll take Tyler Nubin.
Yeah, no, but it was another good coverage of NFL draft picks here for next week. Draft night shindig, second annual. Trevor, the people don't know this, and I think we might have said it last show, but for the viewers out there, and we'll make you actually get to see our faces 2 times next week.
Yes.
A little overtime action. Tuesday, Trevor is going to be touching on. I want to steal your thunder. Who are you touching on next Tuesday?
No, I said it already. QBs, RBs, bud. Quarterbacks, running backs.
Yep. A lot of, and I'm very interested to see where we go with that. And then Thursday, we're going to have the likes of us two, feet on the ground in Detroit. Cole Peterson is going to be making an appearance, and another guest as well. So it's pretty star-studded show, if you ask me, Trevor. I can't wait.
Looking forward to it for sure. Finally, the NFL draft is it's almost here, bud. It's almost here. We've been looking forward to it pretty much since the Super Bowl ended. Yeah. So, and I've been covering all these picks all these weeks. Yeah. I'm ready for the moment of truth to see what actually goes down on draft night.
Right.
Or dare I say draft nights. I don't know if I'll be watching all 3 nights, but I'll definitely be tuning in. Obviously for night 1, we have the show, but honestly, I'll probably tune in for day 2 as well. We shall see.
Hey, there's good, and some people do that. And just because we're having a show day 1, we'd love to do all 3 days, but Jesus Christ, we're going to be on here for 4 hours, and I might not be much longer.
No, we wouldn't have a voice to do the Tuesday show after that. Well, that too. I just, I don't want to have to go to an AA meeting after the Saturday draft. So,
Right. But moving on here with Trevor.
Oh, real quick, DB, pet peeve, and I've noticed this watching back the last couple weeks. You left the Chiron, the Dinsy's draft picks. You left that on there as we literally went throughout the show. There we go. There we go.
But we're going on to hard-hitting topics. If you're watching and you got friends out there, or family, or even your grandma, get her in here. We got some hard-hitting topics here for you beautiful people, and it might get a little spicy.
It's going to get a little spicy, but after talking for a little bit, I want to get a little more lighthearted. Okay. Talk about the Masters a little bit. Scotty Scheffler winning his 2nd of 3. Obviously, I bet on Rory, and he did the same thing he does every Masters, which is.
And I went with you. I thought Rory could do it, but
no, I thought legit. I thought it was his time. I'm like, you know what? He's been going at this for like 18 years now. I thought he was gonna have a little bit of a redemption arc to him, but that unfortunately was not the case.
No.
But kind of transitioning into that, I told you before the show a little bit of a news segment, and I understand you probably can't put these words on like the actual screen, so I'm not going to ask you to throw a Chiron up there. But if you haven't noticed, I am a human.
Yes.
I'm not an alien.
No.
I fuck up a little bit. I say some words that aren't necessarily true. And I say some words that aren't necessarily supportable by a whole lot. Granted, that's not a whole lot different than what a lot of sportscasters and sports media people do on a daily basis. But you know what? I have undiagnosed OCD. I'm convinced of it. So every time I watch these back, I'm like, no, that was wrong. That was wrong. This was wrong. That was wrong. So I decided to flip it into a bit of a segment here. And I'm calling the segment, What Did I Fuck Up?
Yep.
You don't have to put that on a Chiron.
I really want to, but I think we're gonna get fucking.
Nah, we'd get flat. Well, can you do it with the asterisks maybe? And like you don't have to do it now. You just have it prepared for next week.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You can put like a % sign and like an asterisks and like a hashtag or something, and just 4 of those. What did I insert 4 characters up? Yep. What did I fuck up?
Yep.
So last week, and this goes right in line with the Masters topic. Mm-hmm. I said that Jim Nantz wasn't announcing the Masters anymore. That was wrong. He's still doing the Masters, and he will be doing the Masters as far as we know until he's on his deathbed.
Right.
It was, however, the on-course reporter Vern Lundquist's last Masters, and he'd been doing it for 40 years. And I understand Tiger had a special moment with him that was thrown out there all over social media. If you haven't taken a look at that, go take a look at it. a little emotional. And then, of course, the internet took a hold of it because he shook Vern Lundquist's hand while Vern was still behind the tree. So it looked like Tiger was shaking the hand of a tree. Internet got a hold of it, made some memes and reels and TikToks out of it. Don't get me wrong, funny, but still a very emotional moment, a very special moment for both of those gentlemen right there.
Yeah.
The other thing that I fucked up, Scotty Scheffler did not repeat. He won 2 of 3 Masters. John Rahm won it last year.
Oh, okay.
Reason I didn't remember it, there was a bunch of weather delays and it got finished like a day or 2 late. So, yeah, I mean, granted, it wasn't to the 2020 level of the Masters where it was pushed to November.
Yeah.
I mean, Christ, dark times, COVID, dark times, not good. But credit to where credit's due for John Rahm, won it in 2023, and we had a little back and forth going on. Scheffler put the jacket on Rahm last year, and now Rahm puts the jacket back on Scotty Scheffler, which, again, congratulations are in order to Scheffler on 2 fronts. First, for winning the Masters, and second, for doing something that he honestly thought more important. He's having his first child very soon, him and his wife. She's due pretty much any day now. They were worried about the timing with the Masters, and this is where I have immense respect for Mr. Scheffler. He said in an interview, I believe a couple days beforehand, I don't care if I'm on the 18th green about to sink the last putt. If I get the call, I'm going to go see my wife.
Right.
To paraphrase what he said. So, dude's the greatest golfer in the world, and he's got one of the best heads on his shoulders. And he's a follower of who. Yeah. So, a lot of respect for that guy. He's becoming one of my favorite, if not my favorite, golfer out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's probably one of the hardest goddamn sports, and I don't think I'll ever master that sport.
No.
That's all right.
Me neither. Golfing at our level is just an excuse to go drinking, DB.
Yep.
To literally drive drunk in a golf cart. That's the goal.
Spend $40 to $60, and by the end of it, you feel like you should just snap all your clubs and throw them in the woods somewhere. But you have a good time while doing it.
Oh yeah. I always plan to lose at least 3 or 4 balls, whether it's in the woods or the water, because I'll hit those. I'm not even close to amateur. I think I have a handicap of like 30. So it's rough, but we're getting into that season and the weather's getting a little nicer. I'll definitely be out doing that. Maybe as soon as this weekend. We'll see. I took an extra day off this weekend. I already get Friday off, so I got a nice long weekend coming up after tomorrow. And enjoy.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else before I get into the not so good stuff? Or
I don't know if you had it. I think there's a discussion that needs to be had, and I don't want to steal your thunder though.
Sure.
Caitlin Clark.
The Caitlin Clark. Yeah. Let's talk. Yeah. Go ahead.
What's driving me nuts, besides people coming after her outfit, which I'll be honest, who the hell cares? She is or is going to be one of the greatest women's basketball players of all time, in my opinion. Thank God.
Barring disaster, yeah.
Yes. And but that's first time. I'll tell you right now, her salary, that kind of really pissed me off when I saw and I'm not saying
what was her salary?
$76,000.
Really?
For her first year.
Ugh.
Total $363,000. I might be off those second and third number there, but it's $300,000 in total. So I just got to say, there needs to be. I know there's really special ladies out there that are playing already in the league, but I hope to God through her and Angel Reese's feud that the revenue for these young ladies and ladies that are playing in WNBA, it gets a little bit fucking closer to the NBA. Because that is
I agree. I agree.
Wemby's getting $12 million, and she's getting 76. I mean, that's God,
Yeah.
it makes you sick. No?
Nah, I understand. But it's a business. It's a trickle down economics type of a business. And unfortunately, the WNBA doesn't draw nearly as much as the NBA.
Yeah.
As you got to make money on the top line for people on the middle lines to make money.
Right.
And right now, a lot of the top line that the WNBA is making is subsidized by the NBA.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know the percentages, but I know the WNBA makes very small fraction of what the NBA makes,
Right.
and thus the players make fractions of what NBA players make. So, I just hope business gets better for them. I hope they're able to draw some fans to Indiana Fever games, and I hope she's able to boost this thing as a whole. Much more so than anyone has before her. And I know, you got your Sue Birds, you got your Skylar Diggses, those types of players that have paved the way.
Right.
But it's time for it's time for the likes of Caitlin Clark to stand on their shoulders and heighten this thing to a whole new level.
Right.
Which I'm hoping sincerely happens.
Because, and I don't want to get too far into it because some people might get offended by this shit, and I don't mean to, but I'm just saying, I've seen some places her first game one ticket could be upwards of $9,000. So if that kind of money's getting pulled in, there needs to be some restructuring or something. I mean,
it all goes back to the CBA. You got to renegotiate that CBA. You got to boost revenue first. That's how this logically works. You got to boost the top line first, and then you renegotiate when it comes CBA time. I don't know when the WNBA CBA is up. I don't know when they can renegotiate. But if they're pulling in that type of money for opening day tickets, it's time to renegotiate.
Right.
Granted, they have to sell it out. They actually have to sell those tickets in order for that that revenue to be realized. But if they're able to sell it out at, would you say, $9,000 a ticket?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well,
come on, man.
We're not, and just put this into perspective for the wonderful people out there. We're only 10,000 away in dollar form of Kobe's last game. Kobe's last game tickets were 19,000.
Wow.
So just to
that's
put
impressive.
that in perspective for everybody out there, you hate her or love her, she draws. So I just had to say that. I know I brought it up last week, but
it's worth bringing up. And the more, even our little show, if we talk about it, granted, a lot of other shows are going to talk about it. Hell, Caitlin Clark was featured on SNL this past weekend. That's fucking huge.
Right.
So the more attention that gets revolved around this thing, the more money that's going to go to it. And then the more that women are going to be able to make a living off of professional basketball. And honestly, I might watch a little bit of games this year. I normally don't watch WNBA, but I primarily watch NBA and college when February comes around. Maybe I'll watch some women's basketball. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
And I told you before, I went to the girls' games here at Bonna's, and I've been around girls' basketball a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think, and again, there could be better players out there, but like I told you, I've never seen a girl that can handle the ball, pass the ball, and fucking hit from logo. I've just never seen the trifecta, Trevor. That's just amazes me. That's
she's nuts. She's nuts.
It is what it is.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I had to bring that up because that bothered the shit out of me.
Please continue to bring it up. Please. She's worthy of it. She's worthy of much more than what we're providing, obviously.
Right.
But
when I see, they had this graphic.
Yeah.
Clark over here, 76,195 or whatever. And then over here was Wemby, 12 mil. I was like, all right, we got to get this.
No, I understand. And I get the plight, but it's a business.
It is a business.
It's a business.
Hopefully,
and business has to be good.
Yeah.
Right now, business is getting good.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. State Farm, she's in State Farm commercials. And, that's another draw.
I mean, people are throwing around that joke out there that the first one to greet her after she was drafted was Jake from State Farm instead of her parents. So, internet. Yeah, internet had a field day with that one too. I thoroughly enjoyed what came out of that. But
I just had to bring that up, though.
Oh, for sure, bud. For sure.
Yeah.
So is it time to get into the dark stuff?
Yep.
Let's venture into the unknown, shall we?
Oh, yes.
So I've alluded to it over the months that I've been on this program. Something that I've brought up in passing, but never dedicated a segment or probably more than a minute worth of a conversation to. And there's a reason for that.
Yes.
And that topic is hockey.
Yeah.
And I will preface this by saying I love hockey.
Yes.
I love the struggle. I love, the intensity with it. Hell, I love it when they go fisticuffs. It's the only sport where fighting, you only get a 5-minute penalty. Well, granted, now I guess you get like 10-minute misconducts and whatever. But anyway, behind football, hockey is my favorite sport to watch. I put a lot of emotional and, yes, monetary investment into it as well. But unfortunately, hockey has not repaid me in kind, as I am a fan of the one, the only, it's a Buffalo team, it's the Buffalo Sabres, which might surprise a lot of people because I'm otherwise Pittsburgh through and through. Big Pirates, big Steelers guy. Why I'm a Sabres fan, I will throw him under the bus because he deserves to be thrown under the bus for this, and I've thrown him under the bus already. It's my father.
Okay.
Got into sports at a young age, like I'm sure a lot of other people did. I'm sure you did, Drew. I'm sure a lot of our viewers did.
Yeah.
So you're young, you're impressionable, right? You can be swayed one way or another. Right. And I was swayed toward the Buffalo Sabres as a young hockey viewer, and back then they were very good. They were making playoffs left and right. They had good goaltending, a pretty well-balanced team, and an identity. They were making the playoffs. They were making runs. They obviously never won a cup, but they were doing pretty good for themselves. Yes. And I thought they were going to continue to do so. But let's take you to 2011.
Okay.
2011 was the last time that the Buffalo Sabres have made the playoffs. Currently the longest active playoff drought in the 4 major sports and the longest NHL playoff drought of all time.
Yeah.
13 seasons. Bear in mind, I am 26 fucking years old.
Right.
Half my life, not even half of my adult life or half of my sports viewing life, half of my life.
Yep.
Has been spent waiting for this team to make it back to the playoffs. And I know this segment might not draw as many as some of my other rants, but I need, like I told you earlier, I needed to get it off my chest. And I've gotten it off my chest in private to my father, to some Penguins fans that don't want to listen to me that are in my hockey group chats, and a few other folks within my family in the hockey viewing world, but never on this public of forum. Yeah. So indulge me, if you will, while I go through this therapeutic run of ranting on my own team. And don't you dare rant on them. They are my team to rant on. Understood?
Yes, sir.
That goes for you too.
Yes.
You don't make fun of them. I do. They're my team.
Only Buffalo team, you know who I am.
No, I know. That's why I'm saying it right here, right now.
Yeah.
My team.
Yes.
I get to rag on them.
Yep.
Yes, they're easy to rag on, and I'll get into it here in a second. But anyway, this past week, or actually this morning, I got a notification. They fired their head coach, Don Granato, which means they're on the hunt for their 8th head coach since last making the playoffs. We've gone through the likes of old relic Ted Nolan, a guy that owned an MLS team, owned and managed an MLS team for a while. Ralph Kruger, former Penguin Stanley Cup winner Dan Bylsma, among a couple others, and now through Don Granato. So, and don't get me wrong, I had good emotions and bad emotions with it. The good was that when last year the Sabres were scoring left and right, okay? First half of the season, they were scoring left and right. They were top 2 or 3 in scoring average. And then all of a sudden, we abandon that philosophy. We start playing more defensive. I mean, granted, we were winning. You're familiar with the Edmonton Oilers, yes? The McDavids, the Dreisaitl's, they just score a shit ton of goals. And then I know you don't watch a lot of hockey, but
No.
yeah, that's a lot of what we were doing. We were winning games 4-3, 6-5. Then we abandoned that. And we're not able to make as many runs as we were. And that carried over into this season. Obviously, last season, missed out on the playoffs by a singular point to a team that actually made a Stanley Cup run in the Florida Panthers. And not only that, beat the Boston Bruins in their record-setting regular season. So, as much as I hated to see Buffalo not make it again, we wouldn't have beat Boston. Florida did. And I celebrated like the Sabres won the cup when Boston lost. I'll admit that right now. But anyway, back to my play. Missed out by a point last year, and that's the closest we've gotten. This year, I believe we're currently like 3 points out. We've officially been eliminated again for the 13th straight season. But again, this year, we did not have a winning streak of more than 3 games.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. We did not have that signature sustained run of 8, 9, 10 games where we go like 9-1. I think at best we went 7-3.
Okay.
Did not have a sustained run and did not have the goal scoring that we had last year. I believe our highest goal scorer doesn't even have 30 goals.
Oh boy.
Not great.
No.
Good news. Good news. There are some positives to take out of this season. We finally have a goaltender. We have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, which, say that 5 times fast.
Okay.
Yeah. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Trust me, I know how to say it very well. If you want to call him UPL, that's a little bit easier. But he was in the top 2 or 3 from January onward in terms of goals against, and over the season had around a 2.6 goals against average, which anything under 3, pretty good. 2.6, really good. We have our goaltender. Unfortunately, we did not have the goal scoring to help him. And as a result, again, we're missing out on things, which is just the kind of the nature of the beast. But I want to take you back to the last time they did make the playoffs. 2011, April 26th, against the Philadelphia Flyers, was the last playoff game that the Sabres have played.
Oh, boy.
And we had the likes of Ryan Miller, Thomas Vanek, Derek Roy, Mike Greer, Jason Pominville, and a fan favorite, Patrick Coletta. He was a goon. I enjoyed him thoroughly. But and in that series, the Sabres held a 3-2 series lead. After a couple of 1-0 victories and another nail-biter in overtime, they held a 3-2 series lead, only to have that relinquished in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. Bummer. Yeah. And to put the icing on the cake, you know who won the Stanley Cup that year? It's a team I've already mentioned in this conversation.
I'm going to say the Penguins.
No, Boston. Boston.
I can't stand any fucking Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
So that season ended sourly, but I figured, we'd pick up, we'd move on. Lindy Ruff was still around. We're doing okay. But then here we are 13 years later. Since that fateful day in April of 2011, what's his name? The owner, Pagula, Terry Pagula, purchased the team.
Yep.
And since then, we have finished no higher than third in our division. Yeah. We've had no more than 91 points in a season, which was last season. We've finished last in the division 5 times. 5 times in that 13-year stretch. 4 of those, we finished last in the NHL. period.
Mm.
And during COVID, we actually finished 6th in the Atlantic and missed the playoffs by 3 points, but we had 2 games in hand over a team that did make it, that being the Montreal Canadiens, which I will explain briefly. In the COVID shortened season, they literally cut things off at a certain point. These teams make it, these teams don't. Sabres were on the outside looking in once again. Even though they had games in hand, didn't matter. Bettman, the NHL, Gary Bettman, NHL commissioner, and company didn't care.
Right.
They had to cut it off and they had to move on. And they had to redo a whole format. And, that's a whole nother story for another time.
Right.
And just as well, since Pagula took over, the Sabres are last in point percentage, which for that, they would need to outgun the Phoenix Coyotes, soon to be the Salt Lake Coyotes, or, some other name. They're moving to Salt Lake, by the way. That's a foregone conclusion. They would need to outscore them by 42 points, which, for reference, a win in the NHL is 2 points, and overtime or shootout loss is 1, and a loss is 0 over an 82-game season.
Right.
Like I said, we've been dead last 4 times entering this season. Obviously, we're not dead last this season. We're mediocre. We've had 2 first overall picks, 2 second overall picks, including Jack Eichel. And do you know who was drafted right before Jack Eichel? Connor McDavid. We lost the lottery that year, 2015. A 7th overall pick, 4 8th overall picks, and a 9th overall pick. So tally that up: 2, 4, 8, 10 top 10 picks in that span. And just as well, 31st in goals for and goals against. To say it's been miserable would be putting it mildly.
Right.
To say it's been frustrating is insulting to the word frustration.
Yes, it is.
Infuriating's more the word. And I was hoping I could say this into my microphone that actually captured my voice really, really well, and I could talk in a nice little hushed tone about this, and then absolutely explode. That is what I want to do. Oh, geez. My computer screen went dark. I apologize. Next time that happens, cue up the Undertaker's gong, please.
I got you.
Yeah. But anyway. Infuriating, miserable, humiliating, frustrating. And not only that, they have the second lowest, attendance. If you go by percentage of the arena filled, they had the second lowest attendance this past year, and I believe it's among the worst since that 2011 playoff appearance.
Okay.
It's bad. It's bad. To say that the Sabres are a laughing stock, it's an insult to the word laughing stock. We are the New York Jets of the NHL.
Ooh.
That's what we are.
Oh boy.
And likewise, New York Jets haven't had a playoff appearance since 2011.
Right.
So not good times in Buffalo. And what I think we're missing, we've had a slew of head coaches go through that organization that have been very passive in altering the culture of that organization.
About right.
Granted, the GM, Kevin Adams, is doing what he can. And the NHL experts were saying it before the season started. On paper, this is a playoff team. But as I've said to many others, this game isn't played on paper. It's played on a sheet of ice.
Right.
And on that sheet of ice, the Sabres have sucked.
Yeah.
They've sucked. It's been horrible. We've had a slew of head coaches go through there that have not changed a damn thing.
Right.
they might have changed strategy. They might have changed where they put the pieces on the power play or on defense or in the top six or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They've moved puzzle pieces. They haven't brought in a whole new puzzle.
Right.
Right now, we have a puzzle that's basically, I would equate it to grade A horse cock.
No.
Is what I would equate it to.
All right.
Yeah. What we need more so,
Mm-hmm.
we need a culture shift. We need a puzzle more akin to, I don't know, the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever puzzles they're fucking made of nowadays.
Right.
Right now, we need a new puzzle. We need a culture. We need an identity. We need to pick an identity and we need to roll with it. That's what we need to do. Right now, we don't have one. We had one with those Ryan Miller, Thomas Vanek, Derek Roy era teams. We had a definitive identity and we had the fan base to support it.
Mm-hmm. Very beloved.
Take the Edmonton Oilers, for example. McDavid, Draisaitl, those types of guys, Nugent Hopkins, net fillers. They fill up the net, they win games 6-5, and they roll with that. They stick to that. They don't try to make themselves a defensive team like the Sabres did when they were scoring a shit ton of goals.
Mm-hmm.
They stick with what they know. They stick with what they do well, and they live and die by it. Right. Avalanche, same thing. Even the Islanders, who play a super defensive style, they have an identity, they stick to it, and they live and die on it. Mm-hmm. That is what's been missing with these Buffalo Sabres for the past 13 years. Now, obviously, I have no say in what happens behind closed doors.
Right.
That's what I think needs to happen. Okay. We need a culture shift. And that does not mean overhauling players. That's not always the answer. There's a reason the coach is usually the first fired. Mm-hmm. Is because, like I said, on paper, we're good. Talent-wise, exceptional. Pretty deep. And we acquired Bo Byron from the Colorado Avalanche. You know, he's doing pretty well for himself as well. On paper, we have the right pieces. So what I'm seeing talent-wise, I don't know what we're missing. So we got to be missing something that I can't see, and that's what's happening behind closed doors. That needs to change.
Yeah.
That needs to change immediately.
Yes.
Now, through thick and thin, I've stuck with the Pirates all these years. I'm going to stick with my Sabres as well. Though I might be ridiculed and though I might be part of the least enthusiastic fan base about their hockey team, I'm going to stick with them. Mm-hmm. I'll stick with them probably till I'm on my deathbed.
Right.
We'll see if they have anything to show for it by then. Right now, right here, we need a coach that's going to shake shit up.
Yeah.
We need a John Tortorella, if you will. We don't need another relic. No. We don't need another Ted Nolan. We don't need another Lindy Ruff. We don't need a Don Granato. We sure as hell don't need a Dan Bylsma, who was past his years. He literally Bylsma picked up a fantastic team, just put the pieces in the right spots, went on to win a cup. What has he shown for it since? Not much. Mm. Do we need a seasoned veteran? Sure, but we need a culture shifter. Plain and simple.
Right. Plain
and simple. So that's why I avoid talking about hockey.
I got you.
And I know hockey has a decent following. It's a bit niche, but you're a wrestling guy, right? You know what? You remember what ECW was back in the day? Mm-hmm. I equate hockey to the ECW of the four major sports, in that it has a loyal and passionate fan base, but in terms of numbers, not as great as the other three. Okay. And that pretty much describes me. I'm very loyal. I'm very passionate. I love this game. I love just enjoying it on my television. The entertainment value for me is off the charts. Right. I love the styles of the game. I love the nature of the game. The one thing I don't love is my team. Yeah. Yeah. Which is very unusual to say, being a Steelers fan, and I'm spoiled in that regard. And I know I'm spoiled. When it comes to my four major sports: Sixers, Sabres, Pirates, Steelers. Overall, I'm pretty spoiled.
Right. Right.
But I'm not spoiled in hockey. And Terry Pagula has not spoiled us at all.
No. No.
So
Yeah.
thank you for listening to my therapy session there. I was going to fly. I felt like flying a little more off the handle when I was talking earlier, but I wanted to have a bit of a serious conversation right then and there.
And just an outsider looking in, yeah, I mean, we weren't the last, well, she was up there for a year before I moved up there. But I'll tell you, every time there's a hockey game and we were up there, fucking place shut down. I mean, that whole.
Oh yeah, it's a decent scene.
Oh, I mean, they got tailgating that. Fuck, if it's a Saturday game, game's only at 7. They're already in the parking lot at 12. I mean, they love their Sabres, and it's just sad that let's see, this year there must have been a drop off, and I don't know. I'll tell you right now, coworkers when I was working up there, Trevor, they love Miller. He is very beloved.
Oh yeah, no, I literally for Christmas I got my dad a the goat head jerseys, those old red and black ones.
Yep.
Got him a Ryan Miller goat head jersey. He absolutely loved it. Oh. And thankfully there was a Dominic Hasek in my size, so I got a Hasek one chilling in my closet back there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you too. I mean, it doesn't. If you're a fan of any Buffalo team and you get, you're passionate. They retired an announcer,
Rick Jennerat.
It was a fucking madhouse. Like that, the whole canal side shut down. There was parking like at least a mile or 2 miles away from the Key Bank Center. I mean that.
Yes.
I mean, we didn't even we watched it on TV. I mean, it was fucking packed house. So the passion's there. The organization just needs to make a. I think Pegula needs. Oh,
go ahead.
I think Pegula needs to go all in like he did with fucking the Bills. I mean, not to be, judgy, from outside in. Again, I'm not knowledgeable in hockey in any regard, but you got to get the team sucked until they got Josh. You just got to get a fucking Josh in regards to hockey, and hopefully he's fucking looking into that because.
Yeah. I don't know who's coming available this offseason as a free agent or who they're going to target in the draft. I don't even know if they're going to have a lottery pick, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what they're able to do. But to me, that's the biggest thing. I think we have the players. I think we have the right pieces of the puzzle. We just need to build a new puzzle.
Yeah. Get somebody
and it's year after year after year that I've been dealing with this now. And this was supposed to be the year, right? In my head, I'm thinking, okay, at the end of the season, end of April, I'm going to be going to my first playoff game with my dad. As I don't care what tickets cost, I'm going. Mm-hmm. I don't care if I have to take out a loan to get tickets. I'm going to get tickets.
Right.
I've been waiting over half my life for this now. It's going to be by the time it actually happens.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I'll tell you,
it's just
local radio stations right when the season started because I mean we're
you get
they're Sabres this year, and then it's like we're 2 months in the season and then it just that's one thing I kind of hate about. And I don't think we're really like that. They switch.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, they suck. They're terrible. It's like motherfucker. 2 months ago, you said they were going to. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you?
No, and that's the thing. I'm a part of two fan bases that deserve better teams. That being the Pirates and the Sabres. Although I will say for the Pirates part of it, the pieces seem to be coming together. This is how it happened last time. All the prospects are coming up and hitting their stride at the right time. I mean, hell, if we get Paul Skeens in there too, and he just starts fresh out of the gates, throwing gas, and he's doing well at the MLB level. Hell yeah, I'm down for that. But we got Reynolds, we got Hayes, we got O'Neill Cruz. Sawinski. Sawinski needs to work on the batting average a little bit. He's below the Mendoza line right now, but has the potential. Shit's starting to come together for them. And I'm honestly, I'm looking forward to going to some games this year. I already got the first one planned with the family. I'll be going to see the Twins game in early June.
Very good.
Yeah. So very excited to go to that ballpark again. I'll probably hit up Skull Bar while I'm in there.
Hell yeah. No, and I've said it. I don't think I've said it on the card show, but I don't think I've said it here. I am a big believer in O'Neill Cruz.
Oh yeah.
I think this, you might not agree, but I think we could see the whole fucking craze around De La Cruz. I think O'Neill, actually, in my opinion, it's better. If he doesn't get hurt last season, Trevor, if you look at his numbers,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, for God's sake, I mean, the guy's just a fucking alien.
Yes. Yes.
I believe hardest tracked hit.
Since the advent of Stat Track, the highest like exit velo that there ever was.
I mean, that doesn't really. I mean, that's still just a crazy fucking statistic. I mean, there's other factors.
Oh yeah,
but I mean, that's pretty fucking insane if you ask me. But
oh yes,
yeah, no, hey, that's what we're about, you know. And even if we had comments in here, a Patriots fan, I would not feel bad for you. But if you would like to talk about, you know, whatever's going on with your sports team, we'd love to hear it. But yeah, I have no love for any Boston teams. Sorry.
Yeah.
No. No. Bruins. No.
Oh
Sox.
yeah. No, sorry. I was just looking at the comments now because I'm still on my phone.
Yeah. No.
No, that's good. That's good. I still got. Want to transition into what's more likely now? Maybe get some better vibes going into this.
Yes,
Yeah. So. Well, actually, maybe not right out of the gate. We're not going good vibes right away. But big news. And this is something we have not discussed on this program.
Okay.
O.J. Simpson.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Died at the age of 76 this past week. I believe he was dealing with pancreatic cancer, if I recall correctly. Lost a battle with that.
Very disclosed.
Yeah. What was weird about this too, and I was going to wait until we got further into the story, but and we all kind of know what happened, but the relatives had to sign NDAs around his deathbed.
Yep.
I'll just ask you this flat out, and we can discuss it. And I'll just leave that little nugget in your brain for a second, along with all the other shit that's been covered with it over the years, all the documentaries, and I've rewatched the court case.
Well,
not this past week, but in the past I have.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. What's more likely? OJ killed his wife and Ron Goldman, or this is just some big conspiracy against him and he actually didn't do it?
Oh.
Putting you on the spot. I know. But hey, bear in mind, he can't come after us now. He's dead.
I'm going to do it in the most respectful manner that my body will allow. I think NDA, or what am I saying that right?
Yeah, and non-disclosure agreement is what it stands for. Yeah,
I feel, and I really don't give a shit. This everybody's gonna have mixed emotion. I think before he died, he said he did it, and that's why. But here's the piece that I don't, and no one's talked about, because I've seen all these goddamn TikTokers. Sure. No offense to those people. Yeah. Hey, you do your thing. We do our thing here. You're just trying to get clicks or likes, subscribers, whatever the hell. But no one's talking about, even if he did admit to it now, because everybody's like, oh shit. I believe there is a, I forget what the period's called, but
the statute of limitations.
Yeah, I think we're way past that.
I'm not sure what the law is in California. I don't know. We'll depend on state law. Yeah.
So we won't make it a whole fucking law podcast here. But the whole thing is, something was said. He didn't want the public to know. He must have said, and that's fine. Okay. But it's just, the whole guy's, ever since, 71, Trevor?
Yeah.
To now, the guy, this whole thing surrounding him has just been a fucking roller coaster. He beats the shit, or he gets accused of the thing, of the murder. The Bronco chase.
Yeah.
We got the white Bronco. Then he beats the shit out of a sports memorabilia store owner because he sells an autographed football. And then 2 years ago, he was at the game we were at, for the Ring of Honor for the Bills, and he has a goddamn ankle monitor on his ankle. Like, it is one of the most bizarre shit I've ever seen in my life. Most bizarre.
Well, not only this, too. You know the book that he wrote?
I did not know.
No, he wrote a book called "If I Did It."
It's like
I've not read it yet, but it literally, from what I've seen and from the third-hand information that I was fed, described how he would have done it if he did do it. Like, I don't know how. I'll give you my answer right now. He slaughtered Goldman and his wife.
But
bar none. Who else would have done it? The only other suspect that was thrown out there was maybe his brother.
The brother was that, and that, but that whole, and you watched it back. I watched it back.
No, yeah, I watched it several times. And I even watched the Netflix reboot of it.
There's whole factors here, but all I said, and no one is, at this point, if you really want to, if people really want to know, why not? If you get passes, family's not going to allow this. I'm just saying this. He's deceased now. Bring those gloves out of the evidence locker that you have. They probably still have them, or they destroyed them, and see if it fits on his hand now.
I think I heard somewhere that they, and I don't know this for sure, so don't quote me on it. I think they incinerated those shortly after the trial.
Yeah, it's over. I mean,
yeah. I think. Again, don't quote me on that. Verify that yourself. But
right. But it's like the Hernandez case. It just captivated.
Oh, jeez.
It captivated, and we don't.
Oh yeah, I tell you, I did watch Swamp Dogs, the Florida football documentary from the mid to late 2000s, the Urban Meyer era, if you will.
Yep.
Hardly touched on the Aaron Hernandez stuff.
You won't do it.
No, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes, there's a whole another documentary on Aaron Hernandez, but
the nation just gets captivated by professional athlete does something like this, and then that just projects it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm sorry for the long-winded thing there, but that we have
I that's why I wanted to throw that out there out of the gate, and I know it's something we'd never discussed.
No.
Computer screen went out again. I gotta keep up with this. Something we never discussed at length. So
we'll never get the answer. It'll only be theories. And I'm fine. It don't bother me. Okay.
No, I know. It's out of my control. It happened. It happened fucking 4 years before I was born. So, and 3 years before you were born. So it was nothing we could do about it. But I just listen to people describe this thing as if, it's, and not to bring this up as well, but everyone remembers where they were when the Twin Towers collapsed.
Yes.
Everyone remembers where they were when the white Bronco was going down the freeway on I-5.
Yep.
And especially my uncle too, because he's a Knicks fan, and Knicks were in the finals that year.
Yes.
That game, an NBA Finals game, got interrupted for that Bronco chase. That's how big this was.
Yeah. No, and people to this day, we're not going to do it. We won't probably ever turn this podcast into like a true crime. But there's people dedicating their lives to this. They do episodes every week.
Oh yeah,
just on that case. So, shout out to those people. But
yeah, and they know a lot more than we do. We're just obviously just touching on the tip of the iceberg here, but
no,
nothing that nobody with an internet connection and a Google search doesn't already know about. So,
no, good topic.
Anyway, so more talking on the NFL draft here, and hopefully getting into some more positive things.
Yeah,
because we went a little dark for the Sabres thing and then the OJ thing. Let's talk about the draft again.
Yes, sir.
So I covered defense this week, safeties, and I want to know your opinion.
Yes, sir.
What's more likely, or I should say, who's more likely to be the first defender off the draft board in the first round? Dallas Turner, the edge rusher that I covered a few weeks back, or the field, which, for record, the three players on defense behind him. Kenyon Mitchell, that cornerback out of Toledo. Terrion Arnold, also out of Alabama, or Jared Verse out of FSU, sitting at 14th overall. And Arnold was 12th, ranked as a prospect. Kenyon Mitchell, 10th.
I think Dallas Turner. And the only reason with
Dallas
that
Turner
is because teams nowadays are really looking to get off that edge.
Oh,
as
yes.
quick as they can. And I think Aiden Hutchinson made that clear. You're going to.
Well, I mean, yeah, Walker and Hutchinson were first 2 picks. So, yeah. No, I'm with you. I was just kind of testing that to see if you had an opinion of anyone else you might throw in there. But
the cornerback, though, that guy, I'm going to fuck his name up.
Kenyon Mitchell.
I mean, that would be lockdown. I mean, from what
which honestly, he's been soaring up draft boards too, because there was a period there where he was projected to maybe fall out of the first round. And typically you don't see non-Power 5 players get drafted in the first round. Kenyon Mitchell out of Toledo, just skyrocketing off draft boards. Had a good combine, had a good pro day. So he's doing pretty well. So I don't know if he'll vault to, over Dallas Turner, the edge rusher. Like you said, people are kind of enamored with edge rushers at this point in the game. They see what type of game wreckers that those players can be. And, they're just infatuated by them and want to get them before anyone else does. So I'm with you. Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner is probably first.
Okay.
So something we already talked about earlier tonight. I told you were going to like this. Tom Brady, TB12, and a certain quarterback that we frequent on this program with a certain team that you frequently bash on this program. Mr. Josh Allen.
Got that alert. I think it was today or yesterday.
Yep. So anyway, what's more likely? And I know we kind of discussed this. We have each other's opinion on it. Tom Brady takes another NFL snap, or Josh Allen wins a Super Bowl.
Oh, you dirty dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're welcome. You're welcome, viewers. I'm probably gonna make Drew foam at the mouth right here.
I mean, Brady's not going to do it, Jordan. That's just.
Wouldn't think so.
I mean,
he doesn't have the gambling acumen to do that.
Well, I'm saying the Wizards den.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yes. So the second Jordan thing. Yeah. Gotcha.
But listen. I want nothing more. I'll say it publicly, and I know I don't want to make it long-winded because you got understand. But I got to say, for that organization, for the second coming of the wide right last season, I would love to see the Bills win a Super Bowl for the fans, for the like we talked about before. There's fans that have moved on to eternal life. Never got to see the goddamn Bills win a Super Bowl, and it's becoming generational. The family's not so generationally
cursed. Yeah,
Excuse me. You put the right pieces around Josh. I think he's like, and I've made the comparisons, and I can't believe I do. He is like Ben, and I know that might drive some Bills fans nuts. If you just give the guy 3 guys you can throw the ball to, he can win you games. When he's on the field, he could win any game. Now he just loses his fucking mind sometimes, and I don't know where the hell he goes. So I say Josh Allen wins the Super Bowl. I don't think Brady comes back. There's no reason to. You did it.
Yeah. Sticking with my viewpoint from earlier, no chance in hell that Brady comes back. I'll take Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl as well.
Yeah. No.
Although I think neither. Probably neither is going to happen, but we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah.
And that one, by the way, straight. I pulled that straight from the Rich Eisen show. They talked about that either yesterday or today. So They got a lot of good stuff on there. Got a lot of pot stirring stuff. So I tend to draw from them a decent bit.
Right. And I think
Right.
Brady came out and said that Josh could win a Super Bowl.
Yes,
And
I believe so.
whatever. We'll see.
Moving on here. I think that's all the football stuff that I had.
Okay.
I guess we'll go NBA because then I'll top it off with some good vibes with the MLB. A lot of good things happening in that arena right now as well.
Yeah.
So NBA playoffs, hell, playing games are happening right now as we're talking here. Your Lakers, let me check on your Lakers. Your Lakers did win. Your Lakers are in. They beat the Pelicans.
Yeah.
So 110 to 106. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. But hey, you're in. Something positive. Something
Yes.
positive. But Giannis Antetokounmpo slated to miss a good bit of the Indiana series with a calf strain as he's dealing with that. So I must ask, what's more likely? The Bucks get swept by the Pacers, and bear in mind the Bucks have struggled the back half of the season since they hired Doc Rivers. The Bucks get swept by the Pacers, or the Bucks make it to the Eastern Conference Finals again.
Fuck, Trevor.
I give you the good ones, don't I, bud?
Tyrese Halliburton, I think I'm saying this. I hope I am.
Yes, Halliburton.
Really enjoy his
very good.
Fuck, you got a youthful Pacers.
That's what I mean. And they're hot right now, too.
They could get swept. When
you saying swept?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if Giannis is out. I'm sorry, Lillard. That's great. You had him, and that's But he's shown time and time again he cannot. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what. I will say the same thing, and I know we're 3 for 3, going same thing here, but for a different reason.
Yes.
It's not that I trust the Pacers and their youthful energy and for them to stay hot. And I can say this because I experienced it firsthand. I do not trust Doc Rivers.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
I do not trust him. Plus, you got your big gun out. We saw how well Doc Rivers did with his big gun in Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
He still put us in a position to lose.
Yeah.
Without their big gun in Giannis, see you bye. Swept to the side.
Don't want to bash Doc too much, but I believe his only championships.
Oh, please do it.
3 potential. Well, yeah, 2. Kevin Garnett's in. I don't know if Paul Pierce is in the Hall of Fame.
I don't recall.
And Rondo's
I do not recall.
I thought Rondo, again, I think he's one of the most entertaining fucking point guards to watch. But
talked about him a few weeks ago, too.
Yeah. Without those 3, I don't think Doc ever wins a fucking championship. They didn't even
I agree. I agree. He had the right pieces.
You got a shooter, and you got a dominant big man that talks shit. You got
one of the greatest trash talkers of all time.
So,
literally told someone to die of cancer on the floor.
Yeah, really.
And that's a true story. Go look it up.
Yeah.
But anyway. I thought I had another. Okay, here we go. Well, I was going to say coming into tonight, who's more likely 7 seed to not make it out of the play-in, Sixers or Lakers, but your Lakers just made it out, so you're good to go. So I'll throw this one out there for you. More likely to not make it out of the play-in, my Sixers, and they're playing right now. Let me see what the score is. I'll just say I'm the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, Trevor. What's the score?
Let me bring that up.
Yeah, because
give me 1 second. Oh, it's early. 6-5 in the first quarter. 2 minutes in. Bear in mind, they are playing the Kings on the road.
I think the Sixers are fine. There's been something I haven't been following basketball like I should be, but hasn't
Sure.
there been some interesting things going on in the Warriors organization? Like they're just not figuring it out, or I've
Yeah,
seen
the chemistry's kind of off. Draymond Green's doing his Draymond Green type of stuff. Yeah. I haven't kept a detailed track of that, but loosely, I've seen the headlines. I loosely follow.
I'm going to do it again. He's pulling a modern day Dennis Rodman.
He's only missing the trip to Korea and conversation with Kim Jong-un.
Right. I don't know if that's what he's going for, but sorry, in today's day and age, that don't work.
Yeah.
So
if only WCW was still alive, he could go chill with Hulk Hogan.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe he'll go chill with Cody Rhodes. I don't know.
Yeah. No, but that piece, yeah, I think the Sixers. I think you should be all right. Okay. And I'm not just saying that because you're a Sixers fan.
I know. I understand. Yeah.
There's just too much, I think, distraction going on there.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And Clay's not Clay. Sorry.
Weirdly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the stats to back that up, but I just know there's been stuff floating around. He's not playing like he should.
No.
So.
Yeah, I think he's shooting fucking close to very, very low 30% field. So, I mean,
not great.
No.
So one more thing on the plight of my Buffalo Sabres, and I just want your honest opinion on this, because I mean, we'll see what kind of take that I have on this, because I might rant for a little bit. I might be sticking the dagger in here a little bit and twisting it, but and bear in mind, sticking the dagger into myself, not in anyone else. Again, my team, I can make fun of them, no one else. Yes. What's more likely? The Buffalo Sabres win a Stanley Cup in my lifetime, or they go on the longest 21st century playoff drought of the four major sports. That belonging currently to the Seattle Mariners, who from 2001 to 2022, well, I should say after 2001 until 2022, did not see the postseason.
That's a heavy.
I understand. You can rip the Band-Aid off and you don't have to explain yourself. Or if you want to have a nice little detailed 3-minute conversation, we can do that too. Fire away.
You got to make
and be honest, please.
Trickles down. If Pagula, this is my honest opinion. Just from a little insight, I have no idea about Sabre history. Don't know shit.
There's not much of it, but yeah.
A little insight.
Yeah.
He needs to treat them as important as the Bills. I don't think he is right now. So if he does that, makes the correct moves, at some reason, I go back to that Eichel. Am I saying his name right?
Yep.
Some reason that was a very big deal. I remember, Trevor, when they got him, and it was like, "Fuck, we are good."
Huge. We thought it was franchise changing. I did as well. Yeah. That is the one authentic. And bear in mind, there's authentic jerseys, which are like game-worn jerseys, and then there's replica ones for NHL. That is the only authentic jersey that I own is an Eichel 15.
And I believe 18 or 19 when he got drafted. Very young.
15. Or, years old. Yeah, like 18.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think as any Sabre fan or any fan of a team, they're like, oh, shit, we're going to have this guy for fucking...
Ever.
Eventually. Yeah, 15 years.
Long time.
So you just got to get Pagula to trickle it down and just fucking.
Okay. You gave your explanation. What's your answer? Be honest. Rip it off.
They don't make the moves. I don't think they will win a championship.
So you're saying the playoff drought. Longest 21st century playoff drought of the four major sports.
Potentially, if you don't make some smart moves.
Yeah,
that's all they got to do.
I know.
I hope I'm fucking wrong because I don't want.
No, I know. I hope you're wrong too, which is why I'm going to say the opposite thing.
Okay.
And I'm going to try. I'm trying to, trying to start to manifest some things
All right.
in my life.
Yeah.
Granted, you can generally do that with things that are in your control versus things that are not in your control. Obviously, the performance of the Sabres. In no way am I connected with them. In no way do I play or am in the front office or a coach or anything like that. I don't control the results of that team at all.
Right.
Other than maybe going in, what a KeyBank Center and screaming my head off and losing my voice.
You're right.
In that small facet of it.
Yes.
I don't control them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go out on a limb here and try and manifest that they'll win a Stanley Cup within my lifetime. And when they do, I might die of alcohol poisoning. I'll be celebrating so much.
You got to go to that parade, Trevor.
I'll be at the parade. I might not make it back from the parade. I'll just say that much. If that happens.
But that's an outsider looking in that don't. I don't. And I think everybody knows that Forte's football, a little basketball.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know. The only franchise I hope goes on the longest goddamn drought is the Patriots.
Likewise. Patriots, Ravens, or the Bruins.
Yep. Or the Red Sox. Yeah. Fuck them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that one. I don't have as much hatred for them as you do.
I don't have any ill will towards the Bandits, lacrosse team up there, the Sabres.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the minor league.
Oh, Bisons.
The Bisons, I have no ill will. The Bisons. But
I think it's the Bisons.
Just how in your face the Bills fans are, I'm perfectly okay. Yeah. But.
So on some last minute MLB stuff here, and we can go quickly through this. A lot of good stuff happening right now. Pirates 11-5 coming into tonight. I actually got to see if they won. Let me take a look at that real quick.
We got to see if they lost too.
Oh, the Pirates played the Mets. So.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. So that works out, and that works out for a special someone that we play PlayStation with.
He's at the game, Trevor. He's at the game.
He was at the game.
Yes.
Oh boy. Let's see what happened here. Okay, the Mets did win 3-1. The Mets did win. So
God damn it.
Pirates actually now 11-7, 11-6 coming into tonight. Now 11-7, 8-5 on the road. So still off to a decent start. But you got to stretch this over 182 games, or not 182, 162 games.
God damn it!
We'll see what happens. Yeah, no, I know he's gonna be doing things that I can't say on this program. But anyway,
yeah.
So Angel Hernandez, right? This guy.
Very controversial individual.
Sued the MLB at a point for discrimination when he just actually sucks horse cock at his job. He's horrible. He's horrible. There was a game, I believe it was in Texas, with the Rangers. He called 3 balls that were 4 inches off the plate or more strikes, and rung a guy up. Guy didn't swing at a pitch.
Yep.
But, and this, among the plethora of playoff mistakes that he's made, the challenges that have gone against him, he's just an all-around horrible umpire, and no one knows why he's fired other than, maybe the union or, maybe the umpire CBA won't allow it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I must ask you this, as horrible of an umpire as he is, and taking that into consideration and taking into consideration the advent of, they're actually testing this at the minor league level in AAA right now, robot umps. You can challenge balls and strikes with robot umps. You still have the human umps, and I think you get a limit on the challenges, but you can challenge balls and strikes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we know how quickly that the MLB is willing to adopt these changes, which is to say not very quickly. So I'll ask you this. What's more likely? Angel Hernandez gets fired by the end of this season, or we go to robot umps in the MLB by the start of the 2026 season? And I'm talking robot umps, like full on robot umps, like not just challenging pitches, but like they call the balls and strikes.
All right, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
All right, hey, Tara, I don't know what's going on there, but let's clean it up. All right, we're not going to have that kind of shit in the comments. All right, me and Trevor, I don't know who the hell you are, but we appreciate you stopping in. But let's just clean up with the comments, anyways. I'd say probably they're never going to go to robots because there's no heat left. Good. I don't give a shit. But I don't think they'll ever go to robot umps because here's the thing. I've always questioned Angel and
Yes.
who's the big guy that he's always in the memes with or in the compilations.
Oh yeah, he retired a few years ago. Joe West.
Jackass. I mean,
yeah.
But I think they just don't want to lose that human element, and I don't know. I think here's a fucked up thing, Trevor. Some of these there's people out there that are fans of these umps.
I know.
So
all too well. I know.
I don't know. I think there needs to be, and even our, mutual friend has said it. They need to do an investigation on some of these guys, and I don't think they do enough to see. Okay, why is he calling?
And we're talking investigations into something I'm not going to bring up, but with the advent of how do I even say this without saying it? I think the viewers can kind of get to what we're alluding to. Pete Rose type of situation.
Yes, it could be. Could be. That's what I think. Definitely with him.
Yeah. So you're saying him fired, more likely.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go robo umps though.
It'd be cool to see.
Because if they were willing to, last couple of years they've done a big overhaul with the rules. So maybe Manfred bending his ways a little bit. Maybe they might switch things up.
Right.
I don't know if they'll go full on, but with the horrible things that Angel Hernandez has done over the last many years as an umpire, and they haven't fired him yet.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse and worse, but they're not going to fire him, and it's literally going to be a talking point of every major sports show when it comes to MLB talk.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Sorry for that, Trevor.
No, you were good. I figured it would spark a little bit of a conversation, and that's partially why I do these. Stir the pot and deliver a little bit of conversation to our lovely viewers here. Yep, no problem. No worries. It's your show. You can regulate it. And there goes my screen again.
Sometimes.
No, I understand. It happens in your card shows too. So yeah.
But
you got to clean it up. Got to tighten it.
You got to tighten it up.
Tighten it up.
All right.
Oh yeah. Anyway, ending on more of a positive note here.
Yeah.
Son of legendary MLB player Matt Holliday, longtime Cardinal, and I believe a Rocky at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Son of Matt Holliday, Jackson Holliday, recently made his MLB debut, and he has already won over the locker room, it seems. A lot of players and coaches describing him as mature beyond his years, ready for this, because, with Matt, he was shown around a lot of MLB clubhouses, hung around with the likes of Jeter, Aaron Judge, Matt Holliday's teammates, Yadi Molina, Pujols, and the list goes on and on and on of who, he rubbed shoulders with at a very young age. So he knows how to navigate a locker room as well. And, didn't have the greatest start to his career. I believe he only has 1 or 2 hits to this point. I'll have to fact check myself on that one later. Maybe I'll throw that. And what did I fuck up next week? And maybe I'll throw that in there.
Right.
Yeah. So Jackson Holliday, I'm really looking forward to watching this guy. He's only 20 years old, bear in mind, and he's already in the majors, doing pretty cool things for an organization that's on the come up. Yeah. They're the 5th youngest ball club in the MLB right now, and they're already winning division titles. Mm-hmm. So I'll throw this one out to you as well. Jackson Holliday, more likely that he finishes his career and he's being compared closer to a Derek Jeter, or more likely that we are comparing him to a guy by the name of Matt Bush, who was a draft pick by the Padres in 2004, very highly touted, and never played a game in the majors due to some off-the-field issues. Where is he going to be on the spectrum, if you will?
Oh, I think what captivated me was when he had that interview when they called him up.
Yes.
Yep. And some comments were whatever. It looked like
there's always going to be those jackasses, but yes.
He seemed like he didn't. There was no emotion. There was some emotion, but he's like, I think he has the mindset. I fucking belong here, and I'm gonna. I'm gonna. So I say he goes to Cheater route. I mean, that's the pedigree of shortstops, in my opinion. So.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's the cream of the crop right there. Doesn't get any better.
No.
And I'm with you. I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to watch this guy play, especially in the AL East, where he can take down the likes of the Yankees and the Red Sox. And he's not in the Pirates division. He's not with the Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers, or Reds. So, I can observe him from afar over in the NL while he's tearing it up in the AL. And I think he'll do great things. Might take him a little bit to acclimate to a full-time MLB schedule, or it might take him no time at all. Like I said, because he's been rubbing shoulders with a lot of these types of guys for years and years now. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to his career.
Yeah, no, and we've seen. I think all the kids, Vladimir Guerrero, dad played.
Vladdy Jr. on the cover of the show this year. Yeah,
I mean, I think Jackson has the mindset of I'm not going to go out and party. I'm going to go to practice. I stay in my apartment, and he's just fucking all in. That's just what that little just has mannerisms with that coach. I was like, yeah, this guy's pretty ready.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fantastic. He's fantastic. Yeah. He shows a lot of potential, and I hope he realizes it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had for what's more likely. Finishing it out on hopefully a little bit better note than the emotional roller coaster I took y'all on throughout the show. But that's what I love to do.
It's a beautiful thing.
Life has its ups, downs, lefts, rights, and I like to throw that in the show here as well. And obviously within the purview of sports.
Yes. No, and good show. A little rocky start. We came back strong.
We battled. We got through it.
I figured out I'm going to use this for draft night.
I'll probably have to use the phone, honestly.
I think we'll talk after, but we appreciate everybody stopping in tonight, commenting, subscribing. Make sure all the we're going to have posts every day this week. Giveaways we have for draft night. If you're in the Elk County area, you will be able to take full advantage of those. We have Don's Pizza already spotlighted yesterday. Rick Stowboys today. Tomorrow, the First Chance in Kersey.
Hell yeah!
We got more to come. It's exciting times, Trevor. Exciting times.
Hell yeah!
It's going to be all good. We're going to have this figured out. Make sure you have the draft board in the back as well, so you don't have to watch fucking Mel Kiper. You can watch Trevor Dinsmore and myself and Cole Keaton and our special guest that's going to be in Detroit. That's going to give us a beautiful viewing. But as always, thank you. Have a good day. Have a good night. God bless. Stay safe. And this was another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys. Appreciate everybody.